That's why. Why did my mic just go 0? I don't know. What's going on, everyone? Become a bit of a what's the word? Tradition that something goes wrong. So firstly we had two things go wrong. This one, I muted my mic for some fucking reason as I was trying to unmute it, and I also forgot to change the title. So hopefully that's changed now. But yeah, as usual, I've got my co-host Enrage Kitsune with me today on episode 5 of Rising Lights, and we've also got our good friend WittycalfX with us. Say hello, Witty. Hey, Jonesy. Okay, so we're gonna get into it. Firstly, before I forget, because I did forget 1 week. I didn't thankfully forget when we had the lead singer on last week. Being the music we've just played on the intro into the podcast was part of the plan. It was actually their new song that Wraithbound announced last week was coming last Friday. So that song has literally been out just under a week. So if you like what you heard right there, exclamation point POTP in the chat, which is just short for part of the plan. As I said, Wraithbound, a good friend of ours, is allowed us to use the music not only in my own streams but also in the podcast. Also, we got a clip last week because we asked him, like, have you got a problem with any creators using your music in any way, shape or form, or has any of the other members of the band got a problem? And he said they have absolutely zero problem, and in fact they welcome it and look forward to seeing what people come up with, whether it's just as intro and outro music for their streams, or, you know, actually like going ham and making a full like edited thing about it. There's a clip of that. I've got it on my Twitter. And it is on my channel because I went back and clipped it so that we had that. But enough of last week's guest. Let's get on to this week's. Witty, do you want to give a little bit of an intro to you, as I've got your Twitch about section open up on screen? Oh fuck!
Online platform.
I just realized I had you lot muted.
Oh, come on, Trev. There's only so many things you can do wrong at the start of a stream.
Yes, I know. I know.
Once you start checking off the list of all of them, though, then that's
there you go.
Then that's the.
So they didn't even hear you say
then...
hi. So it's.
That's fine.
I'm sorry. Start again.
Oh, it's all good. No, like Kids was saying, it's like I feel like that's just part of streaming and getting started with it, is that like you make a checklist of everything that you've done wrong, and then that way you just know, okay, I'm never gonna do this thing again. The number of times I feel like I've been muted when good stuff has been happening, or something has not been recording, or the audio has been too low. Like I feel like there's always something that happens. So I'm sure with this, the more you guys do it, the more you'll just kind of be like, just start checking boxes off, being like, that's not gonna happen, that's not gonna happen, and you'll be all good.
Yeah.
So my name's Chris, and I go by Witty pretty much every circle. I've been streaming for about a year now. Since the first real stream I ever did was last year in January, right around the time of the Australian wildfires. And within our clan, I'll talk about clan truth a little later on too. I wanted to do something to be like, this really sucks, not knowing how the rest of 2020 was going to go back in January of last year. Like, I really want to do something, because we had some people that were Australian natives and people on the Destiny community on Twitter seeing everything that they were, kind of going through. We wanted to raise some money. So I did like my first real stream, just straight from the console, no overlays, no good setup. Had the laptop in front of me just so I can look at chat, and we raised like $400 something the first day, just for our Australian Red Cross. And from there, it was kind of like, you know what, we had a lot of fun with this. We should do this more often. And that was about a year ago. Outside of that, Destiny 2's been my main game. The Clan Truth has been something that I've been a part of since we kind of began it about 4 years ago. And since outside of Destiny, I'll play some Apex on stream, some variety games, like the Super Mario games, other battle royales like Warzone, and that's kind of where most of my gaming interests lie.
Yeah, well, we're gonna get into some eagle-eyed viewers will have noticed that we're gonna get into some Apex at some point. In fact, no, wait, you won't have, because I just realised the overlay will cover it. Never mind. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know whether you feel comfortable sharing what you do as like a day job or anything, because I know what you do.
Yeah, it's funny because people have asked me about that too, but so I'm a high school teacher, and I think probably the funniest part about it is that nobody that I work with, or like that I interact with outside of like my gaming life probably knows that I do any of this stuff when it comes to like streaming or gaming. Like
Yeah.
my kids, I think some of my students start to have had an idea now because they can see my setup at home since I've been like working virtually a lot of days,
Yeah.
and they can see like all of the comic book stuff and the Funko Pops and everything, and like they see the microphone in front of me, and my coworkers like will and I have like the nice camera that comes through on the Zoom meeting, so it's not like the crap quality laptop camera that everyone else
Yeah.
is on. So it's like my video clearly stands out the rest of the day. So I don't know if anybody else that I work with or like any of my students ever like know this, but yeah, my day job's as a high school teacher. I've been a high school science teacher. Science is my background, so I've been doing that for about 10 years. I also do I coach high school baseball. And then in the summertime, I work for an Upward Bound program here in New Jersey, where I live, that helps kids from urban neighborhoods get into college. So it's like a 4-year program that they start with when they get into high school. And then it's like after schools, it's weekends, it's summertime stuff. And the program's been around for about 15 years. I've been with them for about 10. And the success rate is like phenomenal. It's like 100% of kids that enter the program and stay with it for 4 years get into a 4-year university, and then the retention rate is like 96%. So like of those like kids that enter the 4-year university, 96% of them end up graduating from that 4-year university.
Yeah. A
That's,
lot
that's
of
quite the record.
yeah, a lot of like urban communities that would probably be the kids that would join that program. They get like a bad rap. Where I grew up in Nottingham, where I'm from, that has a bad rap. Anyone who knows Nottingham, like who lives on the outer edge or whatever, you say the Meadows to, and they instantly know, like, oh, okay, I don't want to go there. Don't want to be walking around by myself. But I moved there when I was 7. Lived there until I was like 21. I moved out for a year, came back, lived there for a year again, and then I moved in with my fiance where I live now. I mean, I'm glad to be away from certain people that are in that area, but at the same time, it's like, in that area, if you don't want the trouble and you live there, you keep yourself to yourself, people pay attention. They see you hang like around. They're going to be like, okay, you clearly are in this area, you're just not associated with anybody who's doing any dodgy things in this area. Like, we'll leave you alone, sort of thing. Yeah, you'll get the occasional bad apples, but that will start stuff, but but yeah, getting on to, since you mentioned Apex, and obviously we're on about, we've got your Twitch open right now. We'll go on to Twitch, then we'll go on to Apex, and then sort of compare, because Kit did an awesome job this week in grabbing us the stats in comparison, like Twitch-wise, for Apex and Destiny, because of one of the topics we'll get onto when we get into Apex. Firstly, in the Twitch section, it's not really Twitch, it's actually YouTube, but I don't know whether you saw YouTube are now adding clips, Witty. Do you think this will be something that sort of draws a few content creators to live stream more on YouTube that are, below affiliate or maybe even affiliates?
I think it's kind of like the Mixer approach, where if people are looking to YouTube, then they're probably looking at it as like, well, there's still it's still a, for how big the platform is, it's still small on the streaming side of things. Like I know you had shared that one link with the with all the OBS data for how much like view time for like the different platforms.
Mm.
This definitely looks like it would help. But I know, like, just for me, like, I had a day last week where I was like, let me just log on to YouTube just to see like what it would look like as far as like the interface, like if I wanted to actually like go live on YouTube and put like my YouTube credentials into Stream Elements, into OBS Studio, like just to see what it would kind of look like when it would pop up. And I was like a little overwhelmed at first of like, I'm not sure what to do, what to click on, how to do, like how to make this kind of work. So I feel like the clips part of it's probably going to be nice for the people that are already on it. I'm not 100% sure if that's going to be like, oh, YouTube has the ability to make clips. That's going to bring more people over
Mm.
to that want to stream on the platform.
See, I think it's a good thing for the people who are already on the who are already streaming on YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
and it's good for people who might stream on both, but who have viewers who might not necessarily like Twitch, but use it because it's got features that YouTube doesn't.
Yeah.
So trying to get closer to feature parity is a pretty good idea from them. But as you said, for like bringing people across to stream on YouTube, they need to fix the UI. They need to make
See,
it clear what all of it does.
I agree to a certain extent, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that I've seen complaining about different things with regards to Twitch. You know, all the things that they've done that are shady, like the auto enabling midstream ads that we had during like summer last year, and we gave feedback, and they quickly turned around on that one. Thankfully. So I feel like anyone who has that sort of opinion of Twitch might look at this and go, you know what? It's got a feature now that's pretty popular on Twitch. YouTube like videos in the way of like discoverability, you know, using SEO, search engine optimization, is a, you know, because it's owned by Google, is a whole lot more discoverable, I suppose, as a lot of people say anyway. But so I think there might be a few people that are like fed up, essentially, not like, oh well, they've got this feature now, I'm going, but in the same sense of, I'm fed up with Twitch's shit, and now YouTube has this clip feature I can use with my community over there anyway, so why not sort of move over, or at least give it a chance. There was a few people that said that about Mixer. Said, oh, I'll go and stream on Mixer for a week. They saw massive growth in their community over on Mixer. Obviously, that's also combining, say they had 200 people that followed them on Twitch.
Would then watch wherever they stream.
Yeah. Some of them didn't move over to Mixer with them, but then within that week they had like 100 people following them on Mixer because it was a smaller platform. It was easier to get discovered, etc., etc. There was a few people that did that and stayed over on Mixer after that because, you know, they then ended up streaming for like 3 years until it shut down last year. So
Mixer was a weird gamble. I feel like if you tried to make that move, because like say you wanted to stream, you know, Destiny 2 on Mixer, you know, if you had 10 viewers, you were basically like, you were on essentially their, you know, front page at sometimes. You know, so it was like, oh, if there's a market, if there's a niche there, and you know, at the time it was like, oh, if you're streaming Destiny 2, and then hey, like maybe you get, you know, somebody like Aeon raids you while, you know, when he was still on Mixer. It's like, well, you know what, that could definitely make a big impact on you, on like you're trying to get some growth over there. There was something with this, because we were talking about YouTube. The one of the things I had to do for my summer job one year was make like a digital presentation about like how like teenagers access digital technology from like the education perspective. And one of the things we found out was, like, from doing research, was that it's like almost 90% of teenage kids use YouTube every day. So I feel like if your market is like games that teenagers or things that teenagers want to watch, then yeah, YouTube is probably a great, might even be a better platform than say, some of the other ones like Twitch would be, just because of the accessibility and how much, a teenager spends on that time. If you're looking for like maybe an older crowd that isn't on YouTube every second of every day, then maybe that's not the platform that's going to help you out the most.
True. Moving slightly on, just a quick thing to cover is Twitch partners have now got a new perk, which is that they don't see ads, like with limited exceptions like the NFL, partnerships that Twitch themselves have actually like fought for essentially. So yeah, they don't see ads at all, and they're as good as saying if you pay us so that you don't see ads, cancel. So like the last thing is if you're a partnered streamer who currently pays for Turbo, cancel it. Like I wouldn't.
Is that what Turbo was? Like
yeah.
You just pay for not just paying to never see ads. Okay.
Yeah. That was its main draw anyway. I think there were a couple of other little things. But
yeah, when they took
not enough to pay attention to.
Yeah, when they took ads, like no ad viewing away from Prime, they put it on Turbo because there was not enough people like paying for Turbo. Basically. But yeah, and then going on to, since we were on the whole statistics thing, comparing platforms and whatnot.
Yeah.
Moving on to this article that
first of our stats things, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was mainly just like this graph and the bit in blue there to begin with, really. Was that yes, we already knew that Twitch was a big player in the video game streaming sector. Yes, YouTube's got their streaming thing, and there's Facebook gaming, but none of them really compare to the scale, the number of people that are watching, the number of people that are streaming. The number of different games that are live at any one moment on Twitch. They're significantly higher than everywhere else.
Yeah, which is our next
and
thing anyway.
It's here is that 91% of all video game streaming.
That's such a high
is
number.
on Twitch. It's a very, very high number.
That's a ridiculous
Serving
number.
more than 2 million viewers a day.
Any given time of any given day. So the average CCV across the whole of Twitch last year passed 2 million. It wasn't even 1.5 million the year before. And that's average across the whole year. Now, with a lot of people being...
Goes to show with the pandemic,
stuff online, yeah. Especially this year, because you got the whole year with it being sort of boosted a bit. Because everyone's in, they're going to find ways to pass the time.
I do love how this graph
go down.
I do love how this graph sort of goes up. You know what I mean? I like how this graph goes up, but yeah, like you said, Witty, it potentially could go like you could have a good couple years in 2020 and 2021 because of pandemic, because we don't know when that's ever gonna, be mitigated. Yeah. It's never gonna end. It's gonna be mitigated later this year.
Yeah, I wonder if this new kind of normal will adjust for that. You know what I mean? Like how many people, are able to do more things from home, like jobs and businesses realizing like, all right, these people can work from home. This stuff can be done. These meetings can be done virtually, and you're just going to have just more screen time and more people, having opportunities, I guess, to be watching someone live doing any kind of streaming on these different platforms.
Yeah. And then going on to the fact that, we find out, Twitch is, as we know, like the biggest of the main three platforms. We've got the Streamlabs blog, basically Q4, and then comparing 2020 and 2019. So, hours watched is 15.63 billion in 2019, 27.89 billion in 2020. We can see how it's like sort of gone up,
like the
down,
disparity between these two pies.
Yeah.
Oh, the quarter four and then the whole year.
Or no, total
hours watched and hours streamed.
Total hours watched.
Hours streamed.
Yeah. So it just goes to show that there's a whole lot of people streaming. on Twitch, as well as a whole lot of people watching, but just maybe that because how I read that is, there's a lot more people streaming than there is people hours watching, like
Yeah.
in comparison.
Yeah, so the people on YouTube and Facebook gaming, there's fewer of them, but they're getting a
larger chunk,
the people that are up there.
of the pie.
Yeah, and I saw something about that. Like, there's some weird things with like a lot of auto plays, especially with Facebook. Facebook gaming does a lot of auto play, where
if you just
can
sort of scroll past.
Yeah, so if it's like promoted
Yeah.
stuff or you're scrolling past, it'll register you as watching it, even though your phone just might be sitting on it. So it might be like you might be, it might say somebody has hundreds of viewers at a single time, but you're not going to have like there's no interaction like somebody who has hundreds of viewers. Like if you're in someone's stream and they've got a couple hundred people like on right now, that chat's going to probably be going a mile a minute, and you just don't see the same thing there. So that, like with something like that, if that's the case, it's not for every single one, but it's a weird little disparity how that works out.
Yeah. Yeah, they say Twitch reigns supreme. I think because the more the other platforms sort of become more like Twitch, the more disparity I think will sort of shrink, if that makes sense. And we might see these pie graphs become a bit more balanced.
More evenly balanced, yeah.
Even if like in a year or two, Facebook and YouTube combined make up 50% of the total hours watched, and like I don't know, 15%, no, 25% even. Bloody hell, maths, quick. Was not on there, but like 25% of the hours streamed, then I think it will be sort of a step in the right direction to making Twitch and Amazon, who obviously owns Twitch, go, do you know what? Maybe we need to bring in more features to better help creators create and help those watching interact. I think, predictions and what's the other one? Like channel points and stuff when they brought those back in ages ago. Yeah, I think they are good.
Is a nice feature.
Yeah, I think they're good steps in the right direction to making it more interactive with the viewers. Obviously, we did one in your stream last night, Witty. Couple of
gonna get Eyes of Tomorrow.
Yeah, a couple of the guys needed Eyes of Tomorrow, and god damn it, I lost my 130 points. God, of my like 25k, but
that's a whole other topic. The couple of individuals who who after this week are now over 36 trying for
I think
a rocket launcher.
did we no, we didn't grab that. There was a tweet put out by Joe. I know you've seen it because you retweeted it, and I was like restraining myself from commenting on it. I don't think it exists because I'm a like 28 fucking runs myself. So, but moving on to Apex now. As we seem to end up with a Sin tweet on the podcast every week. Like it just that or Hath, and he's in this one as well. So
yeah. Well, that's it. Is when we've got people like not necessarily huge people, but people who are icons at the forefront of like stuff that's going on. That like when we're looking for like, okay, what's going on? What do we need to talk about? They're there.
Voices of the community, essentially, right? So
yeah.
Sin, by his own admission today, said he has too much time on his hands responding to something he posted. It was something very off topic about like he wondered what a Doritos milkshake or
I
something
remember
like that
seeing
would taste.
that. But so basically Sin just asked the question of why are so many Destiny players transferring to Apex so hard right now, like as we're running into the new season next week, which kind of looking forward to, but we'll talk to that point when we get to that in a bit. Then Half just says personally he's enjoying Apex because a lot of the features that are in Destiny that he enjoys with regards to the PvP are in Apex as well. So regards to, you know, abilities, mobility, and then rewarding gunplay. One thing I can say is I was looking at like the cast last night when I was personally playing, as I was like lurking in your stream, Witty.
Mm-hmm.
The last time I played was when Octane had just come out in like season 1 or 2. And I've
Yeah, that
come
was
back.
one of the first releases. That was one of the first like unlockable characters.
Yeah, I came back, obviously playing it when like everybody else is recently. First I was playing MNK because I was like, you know, I'm on PC, I might as well. And I was really enjoying it, having some fun, maxing out at like 1 or 2 kills maybe every couple of games because I really can't aim very well on MNK. Let's put it that way. And honestly, not making excuses, I ain't got the space to like turn my sensitivity down. So it's something I'm gonna struggle with. I played a couple games with controller last night, like as I was chilling in your stream, and I had one game where I ended up with 2 fucking squad wipes because, hello, I've been playing controller games since I was 5, and I'm 28 in like 36 days. So, you know, 23 years is of muscle memory is a lot easier to remember than basically a month.
Oh yeah, if
yeah.
you grew up on controller and you haven't spent a lot of time with MNK, and that's how I felt like I can do some games like side scrollers and platformers on MNK, but throw me in a first person shooter and it just does not work.
And look, we have our very own Witty right here giving his point of view on it. So, but yeah, and then so now we're on to Apex. One thing I asked Kit when we was on about we were going to talk about Apex because of the fact that Witty's been playing a lot of it recently was a friend of mine I met through Anne, who's a member of Favored. I've got a tweet here that we're going to go into in a moment. Has recently took part in the first of the winter circuit ALGS, which is the, as you can see up here in the URL, you might not be able to see it on the stream actually, so I'll just read it out. Apex Legends Global Series. Winter Circuit North America Finals for Tournament 1. Wally Catchers in 10th place right here is made up of 3 guys, which I can't actually bring them up, but it's Mr. Greek God, Stink TV, and Kotagami. So Kotagami is the guy that I met through Anne. I got his stream, his Twitch up right here, just because of one thing and one thing alone. He is damn good. Witty went back and watched a couple things. So I personally think he's really fucking good. I don't know about you, Witty.
Yeah, I caught him for a little bit. I think it was Tuesday after I played a little bit of the new season. I went and rated him and then hung out for a little bit watching him play. And it's like it's not even just the gameplay, the gunplay. It's this kind of stuff like that you need if you're doing that kind of level of competitive gaming with, you know, call outs, precision, like thinking ahead, you know, where to look, where to it was, you know, it felt like you were watching like, you know, an actual, you know, E-League type of game where you expect like high quality, and it was definitely up to that level.
Well, there's the other thing. I don't know whether you caught when you was in his chat after you raided him. He's got a timer that goes through when, I think it's Nightbot, whichever bot he uses, actually announces something that he's got a command for, which is !left eye in his chat. Which it's in his about me. He was born with a lesion on his left eye, so technically he's a Cyclops. He can't see out of his left eye, and he's still playing to that. So part of the reason I wanted to include this, I didn't actually say to obviously Kit. I said to Kit I wanted to include it because as a friend I met him through Anne, and Anne's a member of Favored. But one thing I didn't say to Kit is part of the thing with Rising Lights that we wanted to do is giving people advice on streaming, talking a bit of Destiny, but also those that are, you know, maybe just starting out on streaming, giving or any sort of gaming avenue, giving them a bit of hope. Now, he's played since he was 10, so if somebody who has he was born with it, so you know he's a birth defect basically, can have such a passion for games that he's just going to work through it and, you know, play to the highest degree in that he's playing. Like, look at some of the teams on this list. CLG, TSM, Team Liquid, Cruelty, like NRG, some huge like orgs within gaming in general, let alone Apex. And you know, to be playing pro Apex players and coming 10th, they did fucking immense. Like, I'm not being funny. As somebody who known him for about a month, I played Overwatch with him. I'm proud of him and proud to say he's a friend. Like, not only that, but as the tweet from Anne states right here, look, he finished joint 5th. Technically, he's 9th, but if you look at the amount of kills through other people above him in the list, he's joint 5th in the amount of kills. And some of the people above him are these pro players that are salaried to be on these rosters. This is his first tournament. As Anne says here, 0 comp experience in him. He literally, with regards to Apex, played, you know, the quick play matches everybody could play, and then the ranked that people over level 10, I think it is, can play. That was it. Before this,
no scrims, just jumped into a tournament and
he'd played with these guys a couple times in ranked, like individually, but this was their first, like, stacking as a 3. So like Stink and Greek, I think, had played together. Kotogami and Stink had played together. Greek and Kotogami had played together, but never as a 3 stack. If I remember correctly from them saying after the tournament, like after they got this result. So for the fact that all 3 of them playing together for the first time, they did so well. Kotogami, having the birth defect of his, you know, technically being a Cyclops. But also having 0 comp experience. I think Greek has some, and maybe Stink, but I haven't checked Stink. To then finish joint 5th, 9th on the kills leaderboard against these pro players. Like, he did immaculate, in my opinion.
It's a bloody good performance.
Yeah. So, if anybody wants to go and, you know, hit him up with a follow, you can see his Twitch on screen. I recommended him to Witty, and then Witty ended up raiding him on Tuesday, and
that man makes plays, and he definitely, you know, you watch him, he looks like a competitive gamer. So despite not actually being, you know,
I mean, you can see one of them on screen.
Yeah.
Right there. Like, let me just see if I can get that
trailer. Yeah.
Fast forward a bit. He basically jumps up on top of a door and then shoots somebody through a window. Like, that sort of thinking is what you need in that environment. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, to go on to the stats things I was on about earlier, to compare Apex and Destiny as regards to going full circle now back to Sin's tweet. Here's a couple stats here. Do you want to go over a couple of them, Kit? Then I'll let you.
Yeah. So, well, it's mostly just the chart, really. And that was the number of viewers to the number of channels. Obviously, there'd be more viewers per channel. That's a given. But they're pretty well paired together. So you know, you're not getting like a sudden rush of viewers to like 1 or 2 channels. And there are pretty consistent peaks that coincide with when a new season drops.
Yeah. funnily enough, January 24th was when ALGS took place, and
Yeah.
EA themselves on the Play Apex channel were streaming it, and Imperial Hal, one of the TSM players, had more viewers than them, I believe. But look, 48,000 people watched Apex on that day, and then we come to like just over a week later, and you've got 95 people watching because the new season took hold on the Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah. The other thing as well is that in each of the sort of the blocks where you can tell the season, so you've got like one sort of either side of April 20th, and then obviously April 2020, and obviously either side of June and October and stuff. But it's been sort of slowly growing each block, like season on season. Aside from
August.
early 2019 when it was like at its peak.
Yeah, and this one here between May and August sort of seems to be either a little lower or about the same.
And early 2019 was when the game came out, so that's like that's the beginning
So
of
a lot of
whole graph
around it. Yeah.
But in comparison, Destiny right now is a lot more.
It's much more spiky. Like you've got the little peaks when like events and things happen.
Content.
And it has also been like steadily growing, but you know, we can sort of attribute both of those sort of the grow and the sort of the gradual way they have on each sort of block to just the platform as a whole growing really. But it's not quite as visible on the charts, the growth, as it is with Apex.
I think it's quite interesting as well. Some of the biggest spikes are like around when raids came out. So like, I saw it earlier. There, look, November 10th when Beyond Light dropped, big spike. Go a little bit to this next spike here, and if you look, it's November 21st when the raid came out.
Yeah.
So like, it just goes to show that so people basically just want it's. What we got to remember as well with regards to Destiny is, I think the statistic is only like the top 10 or top 5% of players actually do raids. And I know that's something you have tried to change, Witty, and it's something I want to change personally. But
yeah, the numbers right there speak for themselves, and I think that's Destiny's a weird spot when it comes to streaming, because I feel like people would rather, when it comes to like the raids, I feel like people would rather do them much more than watch other people do them. Whereas, you know, shooters are shooters. When you've got, you know, player versus player, you know, in whether it's the Crucible or any other game, you know, people will watch that because it's a little bit more competitive. There's no real competitiveness to a raid unless it's like, you know, when it first drops and everybody's trying to beat it and everyone's trying to get those first clears. So they don't really have the, you know, the appeal to draw. But I feel like if you went to somebody and you were like, hey, you know, somebody watched it, like, well, that looks cool, I could do that, like, versus, you know, somebody in a, you know, in a 6v6 or 3v3 trials, they would look at that and be like, well, I can't do that, I can't compete with that kind of stuff. Raids make, you know, look a little bit more accessible, they feel a little more accessible. And, you know, definitely one of the things we've tried to do is make it more accessible for people, especially on Xbox.
so now we're into like the Destiny thing. Before we move on to like to do with the new season coming next week, do you want to go into a bit more about Truth, like what the whole mantra is with Truth?
Yeah,
obviously we
sure.
saw on your Twitch profile it's 5 rosters. I like made a note on the doc that me and Kit have to, you know, what I basically screenshotted you for topics earlier this week. Of all the names of them, because I'd made a note once when I asked you.
Yeah, it's I feel like since we've done the clan truth name is very new, actually, and it's because it was getting very confusing trying to explain it to a lot of people. So we started Clan Truth is 5 rosters. Our Discord is now over 800 people. It's a majority Xbox players, but it's also we do have a good amount, I would say at least 100 or more active PC players. We don't have any specific PC clan, and it just kind of people gravitated to, different rosters who they played with. We have a Steam group that makes that a little bit more easier to manage than versus a clan on, a PC clan. But the story I joke around sometimes with people is like the story, it borders on like, an MCU origin story of how we actually got started, but it's not nearly as interesting. Where we had a couple of people from my group in D1. We had a clan called Raid Alliance Guild, and one of my best friends from high school also played the game. He had his small group of friends as well. I can't remember the name of their clan, honestly, for the life of me. But when Bungie announced Destiny 2, and there was that big, when they first announced it, it was like spring of like 2017. They had like the big stage show, and they were talking about clans, and they were talking about all these things that clans were going to have. So we were like, this sounds awesome. We definitely want to have a clan and make like a really big group and have a really good one. So we started the Corrupted Truth, and that was the first roster, and that's still one of the 5 rosters that we have. It grew like super quick. We did a lot of recruiting, we got a lot of people in, and then how Destiny 2 year 1 kind of fizzled out around Curse of Osiris. The game kind of went, I don't like you saying dead game, but it went cold pretty quickly. We a lot of us came back when Warmind came back, and we grew back again. We went from 100 active people before Curse of Osiris back down to about 30 when Warmind started, and then built it back up to 100 from there. And we were like, all right, let's make another roster. So we made a second roster, and then there was a little bit of admin friction between basically my contingent of individuals and the other contingent that wanted to make a very elite 1% type of clan, and I wanted to keep doing this growth and building and this inclusive group and getting more people in and getting more people to do stuff. And I think I had the right mindset and the right mentality of, if you bring in a lot of people, you're going to get good people, and you're going to get quality individuals, and you're going to get talented people along the way that want to be a part of that. And that's kind of exactly what we did. We brought in a bunch of people. We brought in numerous individuals. So that other group of people basically split off. They actually tried to break our Discord before they left, which a lot of people don't really know. But the one guy that still had admin privileges actually gutted half of our Discord before pretty much giving us the big old FU and leaving the Discord. He essentially removed about 100 and something people at the time, that we had to then go and find all of these people in game and on the Bungee website again to get them back in our Discord.
Wow.
But he did all of that out of spite, so that was not cool.
That sounds familiar. I don't know whether Kit, was you part of the Legion split? I can't remember.
No, I was after the split.
Basically, Legion of Forsaken went for a similar sort of thing. Bruce, who was the founder, basically was getting told one thing by a group of people, which was that the Sherpa team was just playing with each other and a select group of others, and they weren't playing with everybody in the clan. When in actuality, you could see just from the Discord that like the Sherpa team was posting pretty much every day. All right, we're free for 2 hours. Who wants a raid? This was all during Season of Arrivals. I was on the trainee program at that point, and I was just like, anybody needs any dungeons? I know I'm not gonna grab enough for a raid at the time that I'm on. So anybody needs any dungeons, just hit me up. Like I'm on and playing anyway. Like, but yeah, then it looked like they were going to basically. Bruce did some, in my opinion, bullshit announcement saying that that essentially the Sherpa team had forced him out. So he was handing the ownership over to somebody else, which ended up being Hobo, who you know.
Yeah.
And then, and I can say all this shit now because I'm not part of Legion. Like I'm friends with him. I'm friends with him still. So I can let it all out. I can say, in my opinion, man, it was bullshit because it was. Like I'm not part of the Legion anymore.
I can
I don't
speak from experience. It's very cathartic to let that stuff
Yeah,
out.
I
'Cause
don't- I
I
don't
did that
have
with
to-
somebody else on
I don't have to bite
a
my tongue.
recorded thing once.
I don't have to bite my tongue, basically, because I'm part of the Legion, for the sake of the other Legion members. I mean, Kit's on this podcast, so sorry, Kit, but
Yeah.
Kids minding his business and just letting you go.
yeah, Kit's just like, Trep, go right ahead. I'm not any part of this. But yeah, and then so they were saying, oh, all right, we're gonna give because they were the admins of the whole thing, you know, the Discord, everything. They said, oh yeah, we're gonna give the Discord over to one of the guys tomorrow. Tomorrow came, they never gave it. The next day came, never gave it. And it basically ended up, because that was made on like the Thursday, it came to the Sunday, and then one of the Sherpa team, a guy by the name of Amakage Demon, basically said, you know what, to Hobo, he says, you know what, I could make a Discord, and we'll just move people across. Dares, I think, basically another one of the Sherpas and admins turned around and went, you know what, I could do it as well, but let's work together, Amakage, let's get it done. And they basically started moving people over slowly. And Bruce and the other person, Prep, were none the wiser until somebody asked in the old Legion Discord why Hobo had sent them a message saying they needed to speak and talk about a Discord, and said, oh look, I'm already in the clan Discord. And then Hobo thought it was in Discord DMs and went and said in general chat for everybody to see, oh yeah, we have a new Discord, we're slowly moving people across, like just to be polite and stuff. And yeah, so that was basically the end of that. All the Sherpa team who had admin privileges in that Discord lost them. They basically just shut down the whole Discord. As we went to go and grab people, they just like delete the whole thing.
That was kind of what we had to deal with when because we at the time of all of this was like Forsaken.
I think we had like 90% of people over though, so it was lucky. We only had to.
Yeah, that's nice that you at least gotten most of everybody over. We basically lost at the time we had 3 semi-full clan rosters, and the other group of admins they had the Bungee control over 2 of them. And so when they basically tried to nuke our Discord, we went from like 200 and something people down to like 100 and something. So we had to go to all of these people and get messages, and it was kind of like a guessing game. And that's also why, because I started with and was one of the admins for the Corrupted Truth roster. I'm an admin for the Exiled Truth roster because I basically, in the midst of the entire shitstorm, started that one. We named it Exiled actually as kind of it was basically the place for the people that had been on the other rosters now to kind of go to, because they were without a home in our Discord anymore. That they were on a roster that wasn't part of our group anymore. And it was just kind of funny, like we were sending messages to everybody that we could find on the clan roster, and sending them messages on Xbox in game, through like the Bungee DMs, and most of them were, okay, yeah, I had no idea what was going on. I wasn't sure why I got kicked out of Discord. Thanks for explaining it. Came back in. Here's the new roster link. And then we had a couple of people who were, siding with the other group of admins, basically, who were like, haha, F you, get wrecked. And, we're done with, we're basically done with that.
Yeah.
So that part wasn't so fun. Those were trying times when this was like post Last Wish came out, right before when Black Armory came out. So it was a good, 2+ years ago, and since then we've kind of grown everything to where it is today. I think it's mostly because I've had control. You're talking about control of the Discord. Been kind of like, I was the one who made the Discord when we first started the clan in the first place, because at that point I had realized like Bungee clan chat sucks. The functionality sucks. This was pre-PC, so there was no text chat for clan text chat. So I was like, I'm going to make a Discord. Like, trust me, this is going to work out really well for what we want to do. And, sure enough, it has. And I think between that and I do my own, like, this week in clan truths, announcements type of thing in our Discord every Tuesday. I feel like that's kind of, where people are like, yeah, Witty's vocal, he's out there. I can trust him. And then everybody that I've kind of, we've brought to help and be admins along the way has, all people that we trust. Everybody is personable, friendly, non-combative, but we'll put you in your place if you need to be put in your place, and when we need to, enforce rules and things like that. And here we are today.
Like, one of the things when I used to play, when I played a couple of the raids with you, Seth, and which is Cephalopod for anybody, and Jonesy, just because those two are on my activity feed right now because they've followed in the last hour. Like Fiery, a couple of the other guys that I seen you raiding with last night. I'm there. Like, these are obviously very skilled players and can, hold their own. They are decent people, decent guys. Sorry, Seth. For anyone who's watching this, because I'm going to be posting it as a video on YouTube as well. Seth just put in the chat, the mispronunciations of my name are always fun. So I'm just going to call him Seth from now on.
That's what most of us
he said
do.
You nailed it. Okay, I nailed it apparently. So
yeah,
but I'm still going to call him Seth from now on.
It's like everyone calls me Kit.
Yeah.
And anytime I read someone new or go in and follow someone, and then I listen, I'll wait there and I'll listen for them to read it out. So I was like, did you say it? Do you say it right, or do you say it wrong? There's normally only two ways.
I love that. I love that too. To be honest, it pisses me off as well because it's like, how easy is Intrep, Pid, us, but then no offense, and anybody else that's from the US, but it's typically Americans that get it wrong. I'll go.
How did they get that one wrong?
I don't know.
Kids, I can understand.
I'll go into a raid with. I'll go into a raid with so I'll be in GG Grandad Gaming's chat, and he'll raid someone who's in the US, and they don't they haven't interacted with me. They haven't seen GG interact with me in his streams or whatever. And then I'll follow because I'm like, you know what, this guy is actually or this woman, whoever it is actually quite interesting, and I want to check out more of their content. And they'll just be like, Intrepidus. I'm like, just call me Trep. Legit, no. Just call me Trep. I say Trep's fine. Just leave it at that, okay?
Yeah.
I feel like that maybe it's just from a gaming thing from so long, but if I see a name, especially a long one, I will always, I know maybe not everybody appreciates it, but I always abbreviate. And I just think it's because just from doing call outs so much and trying to just say things, especially from doing Sherpas over and over and over again, I look at somebody's name and it's what is the easiest way I can say it so that I don't screw it up?
Yeah.
I do not want to mispronounce this.
See, when I was playing on Xbox, doing I used to I can't remember. I think it was was it Scourge that I was doing quite a bit of LFG on Xbox.
Probably, considering Anarchy.
Probably, yeah. And a little bit on PC as well. And I would normally get I had my old username, so I'd get Fox a lot, which was fine. That makes sense. And then when I switched to Enraged Kids now, I would get quite a lot of them saying Enraged. And I really threw some of them for a loop because I switched to my brother's account to try and get him the weapon. And his is also Enraged.
Yes, Enraged Kitsune and Enraged Yokai.
But yeah, from things we know, let's have a look at some more shaky things we don't necessarily know. I'm gonna say that we head over to the melee thing. Trent,
yeah. I was gonna I was just going to say one last thing on what Witty said about the two warring factions during like the Forsaken Days with Truth. I personally, from being in the Legion, feel like your approach, Witty, is probably the better out of the two. Just because I know there's going to be, you know, elite players, the top of the top. So people like Glad, for instance, come to mind, that are doing like 2-3 runs at 3-mans and 2-mans on DSC, like whilst contest is still on. Like, for me, that's crazy, but for them, it's like, well, the raid's too easy. Like, all right, fair enough, but let's just remember that, like I said earlier, 5 to 10% of the player base does raids. The other 90 to 95% don't. So, whether it's because they find them too difficult or they can't find players to play with, it really doesn't matter. Let's just remember that. But it's not only that. There's only so much skill that a 1%, you know, will be kind the 5% players at the top can build. And I feel like the more inclusive you are, in regards to, the Legion was quite inclusive. In fact, just like Truth is. In fact, I'll go so far as to say I actually saw it with a couple of players. So one of the guys that was on mine and Kit's day one team, Chris, I would say, was one of those players I saw it with the most. He was in another clan called Gimp. There was a whole shake-up with him disagreeing with somebody. He left. Gimp clan was a friendly clan with the Legion, so we offered him a place, and he came in. I was part of a 4 Sherpa. So there was 4 of us from the Sherpa team while I was still a trainee. That took Andy from Gimps and Chris when he was still in Gimps through Garden. They hadn't ever gotten past the huge harpy, right? At that point. Mm-hmm. And the fact that Chris went from basically that, you know, never getting past that, to then being part of our day one team, and like when it came to us doing practice runs, we did Last Wish, we did Scourge, we did Garden. He was one of the better performing players, like up there with the likes of me, Kit, his brother. It was actually like quite funny for me. It's like, well, if people were wanting to be the top 1% clans, like, you know, this other contingent you mentioned wanted to be, it's like, we wouldn't have had a player like Chris come in, because at the time he wasn't a top like 1% player. But slowly, through learning, through teaching, through essentially doing what you do with regards to sherping the guys in Truth, and then like other people you find through the raids, like, you can build them into not necessarily that top 1% or 5%, but the top 10%, so they can hold their own, kind of like Seth does, Jonesy, yourself, Fiery, myself whenever I'm doing the raids. You know, you're not only you can meme
awesome
whilst you're doing it, sort of thing.
We kind of moved into this. I want to say when we kind of started the whole Sherping thing, kind of really started when I'm blanking on it. It was Spire of Stars came out. That was really the first raid that we like took the time to like actually Sherpa schedule. Like, this is when we're gonna run it. Anybody who's free during this time, we'll run people through, kind of a thing. And it grew from there a little bit, but really with Deepstone Crypt, I think that was probably the most. It's the raid I think I've Sherpa'd the most. And then just real quick on, because you were talking about you're talking about the splits. So to throw a little last minute shade on on that at the end, So because we had like the group that we did, where we decided, we went the route of we're going to be inclusive, we're going to bring a lot of people in, we're going to create a good atmosphere, and my whole logic was that will bring in people who are really good at this game, especially on the PvE side. But it'll bring people in who will want to be here, who will want to do raids and do these things. Sure enough, our Clan Truth had we had 10 different people finish 24 hours on Deepstone Crypt. The first team finished around 125th in the world, and I went and just to out of curiosity went to check that other group of guys that we don't play with anymore, and they never finished. They didn't finish on day one. So much for this is what being at the 1% mindset gets you. We it was people that wasn't myself. Obviously, I didn't finish the 24-hour. We got to the boss and stalled, but it was it was 10 different people in our clan that are part of our PC group, and I would say that like our there's 7 of them on this like basically one big cluster that I would say are probably the most PvE talented group of people in our clan. They've a bunch of them they've done all the raids flawless. They just the 7 of them all did Deepstone Crypt day 1. They've done like those 3-man, those low man, the 3-man flawless challenges, all of those things. So we don't bring those people in, and a couple of them are are admins for us as well now. We don't bring those people in without that open mindset. You know what I mean? We don't get I don't get to meet them trying to be like, if we try and be this exclusive group of people.
I mean, by the same token, if you get anybody come in that is a dickhead, you can just get rid of them.
Exactly.
So,
rules are mostly clear on that.
Yeah, it's kind of like Twitch chat. I don't know, but I can't remember what yours are in your chat. But my chat, I literally have one rule, which is don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Simple as that. If you think you're possibly going to get timed out because your comment is likely to be seen as being a dick, the likelihood is you're probably being a dick, and therefore you are going to get timed out. And here's the thing: my cousin's in my chat. At any given point, he's a mod, Kit's a mod, and Kit will do the 3 strikes and you're out sort of thing. Typically, and so far
I do on mine.
Yeah.
Usually.
So far we haven't had a problem.
Obvious things.
Yeah. So far we haven't had a problem in mine when Kit's been here to sort of wield his sword. I think I had one back when I used to play Call of Duty, and my cousin bopped him. But my cousin knows it's essentially a 0 fucks given attitude, which I know you kind of share as well, Witty. You come in here being a dick, I don't need you here, bye. So my cousin will not even time them out and give them like a 2-3 strike rule. He will just straight bop, banhammer, get the fuck out of here.
Clan Discord is we have our nice set of rules. There's 14 of us that are admins, so if an issue comes up, we refer to those. We can talk it out. Twitch chat, no. It's like if you're being a dick, you're out of here. I don't need that.
Yeah.
It's the one place I'll make unilateral decisions.
Fair enough.
But yeah, moving on to the thing that Kit mentioned before we got onto that little bit of a tangent there, was free peeking, potential fixes for it. Anybody think of anything? I know it's been, as Paul Tassi outlines in the article here, PvP community has been screaming for it. Basically since swords became a thing in Destiny, even back in as far as Destiny 1, people were screaming, Bungee, we need to do something about free peeking. It's not fair that we get a third-person camera when you've got a sword with no ammo. You can look around the corner, I can see somebody coming, and I can get the drop on him.
Mm-hmm.
There was, I think he actually wrote this article after he was on the filler.
Mm-hmm.
I think it takes it then, yeah.
He was on the filler with Ascendant Nomad, Ill Physics, and Hoplite Plays.
Yeah.
And they are all, like, different mindsets in PvP. Ascendant Nomad, for instance, is one of those that wants certain things fixed, like the free peeking, but by the same token, when people will be screaming, "Oh, stasis is broken, get it the fuck out of the game," Ascendant Nomad's like, it's here to stay, get used to it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. He did. There is obviously they're taking feedback from it, as Cosmo puts in his tweet here that Tassie has linked, embedded into his article, but it's like, what do players do in the meantime? And it's not only swords; it's emotes. Do a lot of people have been suggesting only put us in the third person camera when you have ammo in your sword. Only allow emoting at the end of a round, or don't allow it at all. Like,
it seems like on the surface they would have to basically get rid of those two things. This is going to sound a little defeatist, but even if they were to like say just block swords, like you can't equip a sword to load into say trials or any 3v3, and they blocked the emote wheel so that it didn't work, when you go to load those things in, I would give it 24 hours and somebody would find a way around it to get into third person camera. Like someone will find a way to break through it and to brute force it, and they'll find a way to get the third person camera there. So I really don't, and I'm not obviously I'm a sub 1 lifetime KD in PvP on controller, so I'm definitely not the PvP sage or guru that the community needs, but I would love to see them fix it. I just have no idea how they're going to actually do it.
Yeah, let's put what you're basically saying into a PvE standpoint then. Look at the beginning of DSC. We had the whole put your sparrow outside the bubble, get on your sparrow from inside the bubble, 0 frostbite, constant sheltered from the storm the entire way. They patched that. What happens 2 days later? Or not even 2 days later, like 2 hours later, somebody's found another way of doing it, and basically 90% of the community that's doing DSC right now are using that. Because nobody wants to deal with a bullshit thing that's basically go from this bubble to this bubble. It's not even a lot of people turn around and say it's not even an encounter, which I see the point. I still count it personally. Because you can get challenges, you can get a triumph from it with the spikes and stuff, and if you don't cheese it with the glitches that we've had so far, that you do have to fight shit, and there is a certain degree of challenge to it.
Definitely a challenge if you do it legitimately.
But at the same time, I think the fact that we had the first glitch, everybody was doing it. We found the second glitch, and we now continue to use that, just proves the point to Bungee. One, as you said, no matter what they do to fix certain things, if people want to do something within the game, they'll find a way around it. So we don't want to deal. Yeah, we don't want to deal with frostbite.
Yeah,
we will find a way not to deal with frostbite. So in my personal opinion, Bungie should turn around and go, well, you know what? We fixed one bug that broke the whole quote unquote encounter. You found another one. Rather than fixing that, we're just gonna do away with frostbite. We'll just add a lot more slow mines along the way. We'll add a lot more. So it's annoying. So it's a lot more annoying. We'll add a lot more ads along the way. So you're more likely to get blown off of your sparrow. So you have to actually fight things on the way. And boom, Bob's your uncle. You don't have to deal with frostbite. The poor visibility there is still going to be a killer, and you're going to be fighting, yellow bar fucking captains and dregs the whole way. I think that would just make that whole section of the raid more enjoyable, And if people want to just skip by, you know, they can just drive and off they go. And if they get blown off the Sparrow, well, guess what? You just got fucked, and you're heading back to the spawn door. See you later.
And I think with that approach that you've mentioned there, Trep, it would lend sort of a little more skill to the encounter if you were to go through it without doing all of the fights and stuff, because you would need to find a route that's sort of lighter on enemies and be able to dodge all of their shots so to not get blown off your Sparrow on the way, as opposed to just going,
yeah,
I can just hop on from inside the bubble and it's done.
A lot more like the fucking Sparrow encounter in Scourge of the Past.
Yeah.
A lot of people refer to that Scourge encounter there with the fucking flaming meatball. Whilst, yeah, the flaming meatball's been bloody memed to the end of time, a lot of people refer to that as being harder than the actual boss fight. Like,
it's true. We did going for flawless to get the seal before it went away. Like we had to cheese the Sparrow portion, only having 2 people go in and then having everybody else back join, because it was harder to get. It was harder to get 6 people through that flawless than it was to do any of the other 6 encounters flawless in that raid.
And so, like, you just turn it into basically the same thing, but you're gonna have poor visibility. There's fuck all chasing you, and there's a whole lot of enemies just trying to kill you. Where's the issue? I don't see an issue.
Yeah, tune up the damage a little bit. Maybe make the add some more, like you said, add some slow mines, throw some more ads in there, make it a little more challenging to kind of just Sparrow through. Put a few more walls in there so you can't just drive around the corner. Which is what a lot of people do when they get the glitch going. They just drive all the way to the end, force them to make the actual jumps. Maybe you can add a little bit of utility to it.
Exactly. I mean, they've proven that they build things in the engine whilst we're playing, because they shut things off and, you know, build things up. And then later on, when they're ready to release it, they open that up and go, oh, look, this area that you were able to visit, or you were once able to glitch into, this is where the story comes in. Like, Destiny 1 is an ideal example of that. I said that, I think, last week. But yeah, on the other note, we'll go from 3-peaking to seasonal content. Another Forbes article from Paul Tassi.
There was something I was quickly going to mention. The last part of that tweet.
What part? What tweet?
The last part of that tweet. The one that was linked.
The Cosmo one.
Oh, the Cosmo one. Yeah. What does he say? I've just
he mentions that he doesn't just mention that, like, specifically with swords, right? If I get it open here, where was it? It ends with since it's a complicated issue that affects both emotes, swords, and any potential future third-person weapons.
Yeah, I did scroll.
Right.
I did scroll down and see that Paul Tassi outlined Warframe with all the axes and stuff.
Yeah.
The first thing that came to my mind was Rise of Iron. When we had the axes, the large battle axes.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point we've got to go back to the Plaguelands, right? So
yeah,
stands to reason that the axes will be there.
And then I got in my head too from with playing other games, as well as one of the non-shooter games that I've played a little bit of more recently has been Monster Hunter, which is all third person. So it's like there's a lot of it's a full third person. It's kind of like thinking like what would be actually like besides a sword, like what else would be a good because right now all the third person stuff is melee basically. So I'm thinking to myself, what could they do? Like, are they thinking about like a third person type of weapon? Like any third person guns that you could have that would specifically only put you in third person, like a sword does? Because that could be interesting if they were to go like some kind of like like a heavy cannon route, or just something that would go in that heavy slot that would put you into a third person view. It could definitely open up some more.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised they didn't do that with Heir Apparent, to be honest. Like third person out, see you in your little arc shield, basically being a Colossus, and which kind of relates to the new season that's coming. So, boom.
Step 1 on the new season. There was a tweet from Game Informer that broken embargo. Yeah,
I
yeah,
wonder
they
what that
they had
means
a
for them.
story updated about it too early.
Yeah, we got the tweet here. Basically goes on about it. Cabal Field Battlegrounds, here's what's next for players, and then a link to a Game Informer article. It was deleted, but this person here managed to get a
Okay.
screenshot and send
People
it
tend
to.
to do that when you break
Yeah.
embargoes.
I
They tend
mean-
to try to cover their tracks. Yes,
Yeah.
it does seem like a good
It's just like,
strategy.
no.
I mean,
I've
the-
screwed
as
up.
As it says here, as it says here in this second paragraph, it was harvested by data miners a while ago. But the point is, like you said, it's an embargo for a reason. When companies like Bungee turn around and go, "Here's a lot of information about what we've got coming." That doesn't mean like a day before they're about to do
it's supposed to give
a reveal.
time to have yeah. So it's supposed to give companies and reviewers and stuff like Forbes and Game Informer and all the news outlets and stuff, is to give them enough time to get to grips with the information and put together a coherent story, so that when it's time to, lift the embargo and announce everything, they've got something that they can just hit publish and it's there.
And now I wonder, did somebody accidentally click tweet on the Game Informer account, or was this like, what's it called?
So I
A
don't know if this was
poorly
supposed to
timed
be-
like MailChimp type thing.
Yeah, if it was like a scheduled tweet and then
Yeah.
obviously the date's been changed for something, but it wouldn't be like this for like a matter of days, because obviously you had like the previous season was extended, so obviously if everything was still on the previous calendar, it wouldn't be like a couple of days out, you'd be a month out or whatever.
Depends on when Bungie gave them the information, because as we stated last week, with Wraith, this is the first season coming on Tuesday that's been designed with the yearly model.
Yeah.
So it makes you think that maybe they actually didn't start working on this until after, like, Season of the Hunt had already kicked off. Sort of just before Christmas break, then after Christmas break, and they're like still working on it now on the run up to it. But obviously the latter part of the season, sort of the last final month, that they're still working on now.
Yeah, that might be that would be a tight window. I would probably go back and say maybe when did all the basically the D2 kind of the stuff during the summer, was that maybe June, July, where they kind of broke like, hey, these are going to be the next 3 DLCs. This is, our plan moving forward. I would think maybe that Season of the Hunt was kind of like the activities, like the Wrathborns were probably made well before those decisions were made. And it's like, okay, we're going to fit this in, but we don't have enough time to re-edit it, or maybe we don't have enough time to expand on this to now last an entire year. It is what it is, and then the next one will be, whatever we get with Chosen is going to be that, like, I want to call it a refresh almost on the seasonal idea of this is something that you can run over and over and over again and be repeatable for a long period of time.
I've been saying basically the past month, I hope the next season, since they announced, I think it was the first TWAB back after their Christmas break, like the middle of January, or whenever it was. Whenever we did episode 2 with Sev, like beginning of the 14th of January, I think it was.
Yeah. 3 weeks ago.
Basically, when they said, this is the first season that's been aligned with the yearly model in mind, I've just been saying, hopefully this content loop is something that we can, like, let's say the next season comes. I know we're not even into the Chosen season yet, so nobody's even looking at the season after. But let's say the next season comes after, and the content loop everybody hates. Can we go back to doing Chosen stuff repeatedly for the rest of the year? Or is it going to be like the Wrathborns? You've done them once, you've got all the weapons, you've got the roles that you want, and boom, you're out of it. Like, let's go and play Apex again, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Or whatever other game people have been gravitating to.
That's a good question. Is the seasonal stuff going to, is that going to just only focus on season 13, armor, and it's, this stuff drops with this level cap and that's it? Because then it's going to stick around for a year, but who's going to run it 9 months from now?
Yeah, it needs to carry itself for the year until Witch Queen comes out. It needs to carry itself as if it was the only content. Like
And if
at
you
least
mix
in
all
my
that in, yeah, you mix all that in with everything else, and then you have some some solid, kind of mix and match content that you can go through. You can go back and forth through a little bit of everything. Like, all
Mm.
right, all right, we did this. Hey, let's go kind of like what happened with Menagerie. I think Menagerie had a little bit of that where like it peaked, and then you could continuously kind of go back to it as people wanted to. Like, hey, I really want to go get this gun now. Hey, the meta changed. This gun is really good. Let's go back and run this again.
Yeah, and the same with Arrivals. The raids were, let's face it, the 5 raids that they got rid of weren't being run.
Mm-hmm.
You had the few people that were running them for the exotics that came from them. So Legend of Acrius for Leviathan, maybe the catalysts from the prestige modes on Spire and Eater, the Terror and what's it called, Anarchy from Scourge and Crown.
Common denominator is loot.
Yeah,
That's
like
why people went back into
people
it.
people were maybe still running them to potentially get those weapons before Arrivals was announced, and they turn around and go, oh, by the way, you can just freely farm them. But we saw a huge uptake in people completing those raids in Arrivals because they turned around and went, oh, they're going away, by the way, so if you want those things, you better get them now.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was towards the end of the season when they turned around and went, but if you don't have them, they're going to be put in this vault thing, the Monument to Lost Artifacts or whatever it's called. And then people went, well, if I don't get Anarchy before the season ends, I can just buy it from this vault. Like, do you know what I mean? That's when it started to sort of taper off a bit, and people went, okay, I'm just going to go and focus on other things. Or like bounty farm for ready for when Beyond Light comes out. But yeah. Moving forward, we'll go into some of the actual information we have on Season of the Chosen. I added this bit in as well, Kit, just so we can quickly cover what we've got with regards to the roadmap so far. Because obviously they always do this. Here's what you've got in the first couple of months. But we've got more to announce. So yeah, we've got Battlegrounds.
The cryptic and more at the end there.
Yeah, exactly.
Always and more.
So there's a few things here that, status aspects I'm looking forward to. Hopefully Warlocks finally get a shatter aspect. Please, Bungee. Because Hunters have Shatter Dive and Titans have the fucking Glacio Slide, whatever it's fucking called. Then we have Behemoth and Hailstone Battlegrounds, and then later on, a week later, we get Cleansing Battlegrounds. The weekend before that, so the first weekend of the season, we'll have new trials with the armor and weapons.
Yep. That'll be first weekend, and that armor looks really nice.
Yeah, the third week we get Iron Banner and Oracle Battleground. So I'm guessing it's gonna be like sort of a staggered thing, like what we had with the hunts this season. Then we have Proving Grounds Strike opens for season pass holders. Now I've seen a few people like videos on YouTube making kind of fun of this. Of, oh look, you've bought a season pass, you get this a week early. I actually kind of like this personally because it basically says, okay, this is going to be free content for everyone, but because you've bought the season, you can experience it first. With other people that bought the season, if there's anybody in your friend group that hasn't bought the season, they'll be able to access it next week, and because you have had that week to play it, you'll be able to help them through in like a Nightfall or something. And then again, Iron Banner.
Then Iron Banner. We have Guardian games on the calendar as well. So looks like they're keeping that year to year.
Hopefully a little reworked, hopefully a little revamped.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
More than simulator.
One thing I didn't actually notice when I said about the helping players with the Nightfall is they actually say
It's
here
that is
the Nightfall the week it comes out. So
yeah.
I mean, can anybody say season pass holders helping non-season pass holders? Like, as I just said. We also get the helm, which is where the prismatic recaster is. To me, looking at the pictures for the helm, we'll go and have a quick look in a minute before we move on to like the TWAB and show a bit of the. How long is the trailer actually? 2 minutes. We'll show the whole trailer. Fuck it.
Yeah.
It gives me old tower vibes, but we'll get back to that. Then we got. So we know what basically the weeks of all 3 Iron Banners. It's 23rd of each month except April, where we get it on the 13th. I don't know whether that's actually like 4 weeks apart accurate or not. Personally, it just doesn't seem like it. But then the week after the Iron Banner, as you said, Kit, we get Guardian Games, and then closing ceremony. I wonder if they're gonna do either some sort of live event or like increased earn rate on the things that we use to, you know, denote our class loyalty in the Guardian Games during this. And then the and more, I think most of it's sort of covered in where is it? Like these two sort of. There's an exotic quest. A lot of people are saying because this is a Tex Mechanica thing, it could be the first curse. Please, Bungee.
Kind of hope. I mean, I know a lot of people want the first curse, and I kind of want it to be.
I don't.
I don't either, just because, you know, it's not that I dislike exotic hand cannons, but that feels like a great place where they can just introduce a brand new weapon into the lore.
I agree.
And give us an exotic something, and I feel like people just have this, you know, lore love affection for Tex Mechanica that they could make it pretty much anything, and it'll be a fan favorite immediately.
I mean, even if they did it with first curse, people are gonna get like gravitate because we have lore tabs in the game now. But again, by the same token, I agree with you and a bunch of other people I've seen tweeting about it since this was, you know, announced. Which is, please Bungie, no more exotic hand cannons, because we have what? Sturm, Crimson, Ace. That's just 3 off the top of my head real quick, and I'm not even looking at the game. Like, you know what I mean?
Malfeasance, Thorn, fucking.
There you go.
Oh, you didn't you?
Yeah. But the point is, as you said, Kit, too many.
Yeah.
Helm. So this is the war table, as they're calling it. There's a press release. I've seen a video from Houndish or Jarv last night or earlier today. Basically, what it actually means, like HELM.
Yeah.
And it's a spaceport basically, in the city. Still gives me old tower vibes, even with the wall sort of in the background. I feel like it could be sort of below where we used to go and see the Vanguard in the tower in Destiny 1.
It does look a bit like it, making me think that's very clearly a Vanguard room. Because it's got the same sort of layout. I mean, yes, the center's more raised than sort of inset like the old one was. But you've got that long table, you've got the looking out the windows, you've got
also Savala's got his railing.
Long room. Savala's got his railing still, yeah.
But yeah, so I honestly, another thing that I don't think anybody realized, and I've only just noticed myself looking at this photo. Look at this lower portion here. I say lower, it's, you know, all one big table, but on the picture, the lower portion. Right here, in between these two, like, table things, either side. What does this remind you of? I'll give you a clue. Destiny 1. Inside the room with the Vanguard.
Don't know, some sort of kiosk.
Yes. The old exotic kiosks, which was basically the original version of what we now know in Destiny 2 as the collections, where you could just pull them from the kiosk on the wall and had this sort of shape. I'd love to go and find a quick photo, but I don't think we've got time for that. We'll have a quick look at the trailer. I thought it was kind of funny that they put it on the Xbox channel as well.
Yeah.
And
The darkness crowds the edges of this system. The Hive serves it. You'll fall to one, if not the other. I propose an alliance. With my army and your light, the Cabal will crush the Hive. Bow. No.
I love that as well, and I love how like as a community, people have like taken it upon themselves and made memes, and I've got one of them saved on my PC.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think I've seen it in Truth's Discord actually.
I couldn't help copy one of them into a message group I'm in.
So we'll go have a look at the 12 real quick, because obviously we're going to want to talk a little bit about that. That's why I didn't want to play too much of that and just wanted to sort of play that intro, because that's going to be the intro cinematic, let's face it.
The title character model is awesome too. Like I feel like they did such a great job with her in-game model.
So spoils of war, because obviously all this top part is basically about the season of Chosen, which we've already discussed, so we won't go on about that. But spoils of war, a couple of Destiny 1 weapons that are coming back into Destiny 2. A lot of people have been complaining, oh look, recycled content, but at the same time, when you have
some of the best weapons that they made.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you have
1.
Palindrome and Shadow Price in your fucking hands and you're shooting the heads off of shit 20 yards out, like, you won't be complaining. So scream at the top of your recycled content all you want, mate. When you have that gun and you're using it, you're not going to be complaining, let's face it. Now, on the other hand, if there is less content for you to shoot said gun in, by all means, you know, complain to the high heavens, if you know. But we've got Hot Pursuit. So the pursuit weapon has now been announced in this TWAB, which is a new breech-loaded grenade launcher called Salvage's Salvo. For one, that's kind of funny considering the new hero that's just been added to Apex. Two, explains
Tales from Salvo.
Yeah, explains and uses grenade launchers a lot. Two, explains why they did the buff to grenade launchers, going, oh yeah, they're not being used enough.
Makes a little more sense.
I know a lot of people have been turning around and going, do they even play their own PvP? Because like I've been getting killed by truth tellers and fucking all wings all week. But yeah, this is going to be interesting. I wonder if they're going to put it as a martyrs energy slot, or what was the one you could get from Lake of Shadows? I forget what it's called. When it was Nightfall. Yeah. But it was the only kinetic one.
Malicious Birthright.
That's it. Thank you, Wee.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's going to be like that, or I think it would be smart to do that, because then you could have two pursuit weapons.
Throw it in the kinetic slot. Plus, we just got all the waveform grenade launchers. You know, we the one is getting sunset from Dawn. But now we just got the new one in Season of the Hunt. So you've got at least they just add. I can't see them doing 2 energy grenade launchers back to back seasons, even though you know the Hunt one wasn't a pursuit weapon at least.
Well, the other thing is, I'm thinking, like I was saying, pursuit weapons, you could have this in your kinetic slot, and then Adored in your you know,
Your energy.
energy.
Yeah, would make
like,
sense to not do back-to-back energy pursuits.
and that is not a heavy. So, let's go into trials weapons. Ooh, Temptations hook inspired. Solar sword that we saw in the trailer. Well, we didn't see it in the trailer on the podcast, but if you want to go
Everyone
and,
assumed.
Yeah, if you watch the
if you go and watch the
you
full
go and watch
trailer,
the trailer that's on their YouTube channel.
yeah. Now we get a better look at some of the trials armor as well, not just the shadowy look. And I must say, I like the Anubis helmet that we've got right now for the Warlock a whole lot better, but that is a sexy helmet. I'm not gonna lie.
The overall aesthetic is just great. Like this is when they say like you need to introduce loot into trials. Like I know that they had this plan of, you know, you're gonna like here's the trials gear. It's gonna last a year, and then we'll refresh it. Like they made it known that that was going to be the case. Whether or not they, you know, that was the right decision or not is, you know, always going to be up for debate. But this is how you get people involved in this game mode, right? People are gonna, you know, try and slog and you know,
It was not only
go
that.
at it to get these guns and these weapons now that there's new loot infused.
And it's not only that. If you think about it, the old trials gear was all sort of regal, a lot more like what is it? Like how a carries himself is quite, you know, a
lot of bright colors, a lot of gold.
Yeah, and a very smooth aesthetic, if you will. Like it looks very not battle worn, which didn't really make sense for what trials is supposed to be, you know, as lore wise. It's supposed to be the best of the best fighting against the best of the best to be awarded the trip to the lighthouse. I think this lore wise suits the whole aesthetic a lot more. It looks battle torn, looks battle like hardened, if you will. Personally, at least that's my opinion on the new trials armor, but I certainly do.
I get a lot of John Constantine vibes. Like
Ghost.
it's got that dark like hell, you know, type of aesthetic to it.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, look at that fucking ghost. That's nice. Is this the first? Wait, is this the first trials ghost we've had? And is that even a trials ghost? Yeah, trials.
It is a trials ghost.
Trials has some new cosmetic rewards.
Yeah, new cosmetic rewards.
Chip and a sparrow increases every time you go flawless. Ah, so they're adding a cumulative trance.
Second trials ghost. Yeah,
Was it
I knew the sparrow had a chance to drop from the flawless chest.
The ghost
And
drop. Second ghost, second sparrow, first ship. Ah, thanks, Seth. I've been flawless twice in Destiny 2, in Destiny history. Once in Trials of Osiris in Destiny 1, which is actually kind of funny considering the map I went flawless on is one of my least favorite maps in Destiny 2. That's Exodus Blue, I believe it is. The one where you've got the building in the middle where B is in control.
Yeah.
I went flawless on that one on Destiny 1. And then I went flawless in Trials of the 9 in Destiny 2. I've never been flawless in Trials of Osiris since it came back. So have Seth come in here and provide us with that piece of information. I very much appreciate it. But yeah, I like the fact that it increases the chance of dropping as you win with regards to the ghosts as well. Like 3, 5, and 7. So you can have you can get this ghost. Sparrow is quite nice. It looks a lot like a couple others. That ship's different. I'll just leave it at that because a lot of this is cosmetic, so it's subjective. Me myself, I wouldn't be seen dead flying that. I would still keep my
To each their own.
Would still keep my 100 forges fucking ship on, 100 weapons forged even ship on my warlock. Then we've got the seasonal weapons. A bunch of people
weapons.
In videos and stuff I've been seeing, like, because the images we've had so far in the trailer was this is a lot darker, And so people were going, "Oh, this is a sword." It's not. It's a bow. And I noticed that in a video I watched yesterday. I was like, "Wait, no, that's not a sword.
Alright,
It's a
yeah.
bow."
Hmm.
I kind of like the aesthetic of these weapons. I don't know how they're going to handle, but the long sort of tubes that they use as like the barrels and stuff.
They're basically
like,
the
the
Leviathan
muzzles.
weapons reskinned, to be honest.
Yeah,
A
It's
but
got
few-
that. It's got
few
that
different,
aesthetic.
yeah, a few different things added on.
do you recall
Like,
some of
that's
the
Mob
Iron Banner
Justice.
stuff from D1?
Mhm.
Yeah, a couple of them.
I had a scout, an Iron Banner scout on D1 that was pretty much legendary Mider, I think it was. But
I'm trying to think. Was it no
it had
Spear of
like
Aphrodite
little,
was the sniper, right? So it wasn't that.
yeah, it was. I can't remember what it was called, but it was the one that had like the little ring with a floating red dot blob in it,
Yeah.
and it sort of hover around a bit. Anyway, I used to love using that weapon. And it just, especially that rocket when you can actually see all of the winding on the tube, it just reminds me so much of that scout.
Yeah.
So I want to see, like, obviously we've got these ones that we can see, but like, what other ones are there in the same sort of family that they're not showing us?
Yeah. Because there's a lot of weapons that are going away from Season of the Worthy. Alright, Cult of the Aeon. This is about the
caught my eye
Aeon
before when I was quickly scrolling through.
Aeon cult exotics, right?
Yeah.
So have you read this then?
I had a quick scroll through before. It looks like an interesting approach to trying to get some more usability out of the sets. So at the moment, they've got the one exotic perk that sort of encompasses it all.
Yeah.
And they're changing it up so that there's a mod slot and a set of mods that kind of help you fit the weapon, fit the armor piece into one of 3 roles, depending on how you play that character. And where you can see the three sets: the Force, Insight, and Vigor. As you get 2 perks, one of them affects you, one of them affects your teammates.
I love how like stunning a champion, like looking at Force right there. When you stun a champion, like that sort of bringing an exotic that isn't used anyway for the most part forward.
At all. Yeah, we actually had a meme. One of my good friends, Bat. He stopped playing during Curse of Osiris because I think it was he mained a Titan and he got Aeons to drop 6 exotics in a row on his Titan, and he was like,
Wow.
"That's it, I'm done." And he walked away because he was just so angry about how many Aeon what's the Titan ones, the Aeon Swifts, I think.
Swift
Yeah, he just got so angry that he walked away because it was
Safe, Swift, and Soul.
Yeah.
But I can't remember
I
which
think
is.
Maybe
I think
Safes
safe.
were the,
Yeah, Safe's Titan. I think.
even so.
All right,
Now I
Catalyst.
gotta show him this.
Catalyst comeback. In a previous TWAB discussed the Destiny content vote, we mentioned that some of the content being voted would affect several exotic weapon catalysts, and we would be temporarily removing them while we worked to update their drop and upgrade resources. Catalysts for the following weapons have had the drop sources and objectives updated not to be associated with vaulted content. The Bad Juju, Izanagi's Burden, Sleeper Simulant, Huckleberry, Worldline, Polaris, Telesto, Legend of Acryus, and Skyburner's Oath. I personally have those bottom 5 and the top 2. So I'm literally just needing Simulant and Huckleberry, personally.
Huckleberry Catalyst is so fun.
It makes it so good.
Yeah.
Talking about love for Tex Mechanica, the Huckleberry is so good.
Yeah.
Actually,
that catalyst.
I might have it. I'm gonna have to check after the podcast.
This is honestly huge though, because I know outside of we were talking about people rerunning raids and at the end of arrivals to get drops. This we were another thing we were trying to do a lot of was helping people do the missions to get these weapons or to get the catalysts, and a lot of people were like, well, I'm just happy I got the gun, and it's like, especially for Whisper or Outbreak, and it's like, well, I'm just happy I got it. And it's like, but it's so much better with the catalyst. Even Outbreak, when it was got nerfed, it's still, they're so much better with their catalyst. So
Yeah.
the fact that
To
they're
mention,
going to at least be coming back. I know they plan on, they won't be back. It says
Yeah.
at least those two will come back in a later update, but the Acreus catalyst, being, increasing the magazine size the way that it does is huge.
Yeah, it
Like,
goes from
we were
2
discussing over Huckleberry.
It goes 2 to
Sleeper,
6.
same thing.
Like,
Yeah.
Legend of Acreus 2 to 6. Mind blown. When I got that catalyst, I was like, hell yeah, let's go. Maybe this gun's actually usable. And then the last Iron Banner I took part in on Xbox, I was playing with you, Witty, and Seth, Waffles, a bunch of the guys from Truth. And Witty will tell you, I was running around with Acreus. I was legit memeing on people with Acreus. Because it's just a fun weapon. Like, fun to use. It's, people don't expect it, for one. And because they have to, like, buff it as a shotgun fitting in the heavy slot, like, you can get, like, 2-3 kills with one shot. It's pretty good. Like, as long as people are clumped together. And what made it even better in that was, if I was slightly out of range, but Witty had hit them with heavy as well, I was killing them anyway, because he was using tractor cannon. So you had him running around with tractor cannon, me running around with Acreus, and I think Waffles was running around with a sword, and then a couple of other guys were running around with other different things.
We love to meme Iron Banner, and it's especially fun when you're memeing and going positive and getting mercies.
Prime Gaming. Yeah, Prime Gaming, for those who have Prime, I almost said Twitch Prime then, because it is, it used to be, now it's called Prime Gaming.
Prime Gaming.
If you link your Bungee account and get all of these, all good things. Right, what's this then? Seasonal titles and Bungee rewards. So, I'm guessing this is going to announce when the titles and stuff that... Where is it?
I think it's just for the flawless and conqueror ones, because I think the other ones, since they're gonna last a year, will last a while. But if you have if you earn flawless and conqueror this season, since those reset, you need to apply it. Like, if people got it for the first time this time,
yeah,
they want to have the title.
But I know they were on about. I thought that was maybe because they were on about extending Warden till when whatever the thing they're selling on Bungee rewards runs out, that time frame. They were on about that because of because it was broken. Yeah, I thought that was maybe that. Item quest removal with all these things are getting removed. Other planet materials, you'll be able to sell them to Spider for a small amount of glimmer. And then Halo data we covered last week. Basically, they're no longer running Halo on Bungee.net, so they're getting rid of it.
I gotta do that at some point. Halo 3 was my introduction to Bungee. That's what basically got me to playing so much Halo 3 when I was younger. That when a buddy said, "Hey, Bungee has this new game coming out," during the D1 beta, that's what kind of sold me on. Oh, I'm gonna download this and play this.
Here's something for you, since you mainly play on Xbox as well. And as well as anybody else that's in here from Truth that mainly plays on Xbox. Steam Datagram Relay is coming to consoles during this season of The Chosen. But we do need to do more testing and fixes before it's ready to go live. SDR is used to mitigate against DDoS attacks. And you can learn more about it in the previous 12.
That's huge for the Trials console players.
Yeah.
It's big. Really, really big.
So February 9th.
Not right away it not coming right away might rub some people the wrong way, but at least the fact that it's coming.
Yeah. And obviously February 9th, when the new season drops, we're going to have an update, maintenance timeline, etc. Couple of fixes here that go live with that update. With regards to like Sturm, Merciless, Thunderlord, Reckless Oracle, and like Aham Korabone still being able to get in the thingy because people haven't been able to get Cursebreaker because they've despawned for some reason. Known issues, Lightseeker. I hope this is retroactively fixed so we all get it. Those of us that have got the feathers, because that's kind of annoying. These, I've encountered this a lot, and it's not just sidearms. It's any fucking weapons, any weapons. I've done it with an SMG.
Yeah.
I said this last week.
That's the bit at the end, and sometimes won't open when in a fire team.
Yeah.
For no good reason other than, well, you've got more than one person. Fuck you.
Me and Karma had that happen when we was in a fire team. But somebody who wasn't in a fire team, who I was watching the other day, had it happen. Baggy. You know, when you kill him in you injure him in the first room. At the moment, even when you're stood inside the pool, he goes immune. He still takes damage. But it says immune. You don't get no damage numbers. That's something I need to fix. I don't see that on there. Go on, Bungee. Pull your finger out. Well, Baggy shot the first portal, went into the Ascendant Realm, went up to where the two Acolyte Eyes are shooting you, and there's another portal thing there. Was shooting the ball, and it wouldn't open. And he's shooting it with like an AR or an SMG. I can't remember which. I think it was an SMG actually. And yeah, so they might say, oh, well, like it's sidearms specifically, and in fire teams, it's not. It's just the whole mission is bugged, and they need to fix it if they're gonna,
Please fix soon.
Yeah. Then there's a couple of movies of the week. I saw this one actually, and I actually thought that was actually really entertaining. So be sure to like go and check that one out.
Too.
Yeah,
the Titans one.
Yeah, 30 seconds. You know what? I'll just play it because it's actually really funny.
I just had to share this with my one other group chat too, just because they did a really good job for such a short video.
I wonder how much coordination this must have took. Not only to like get him into final stand and then kill him with 6, Titans doing that, but then also to get them all sort of flying in a formation as well, like fucking amazing. And then some other ones, Artist of the Week, a couple of artists here. And that's pretty much the TWAB for the week. One thing I will say with regards to in this trailer, and I'll leave this up while we say this, and then we'll finish out the podcast. Somewhere in it, I can't remember where. It's about halfway in. It's when they're like fighting in a battleground. I was watching Paul Tassie's video earlier, it might have been Bife's. No, it was Bife's video earlier. He made a 30-minute video breaking down the trailer, basically.
As only Bife can.
Yeah, I mean...
You love it.
Bife doesn't need no introduction, but if anybody is, like, just getting into Destiny and for some reason you decided to check out this podcast and you don't know who Bife is my name is Bife on YouTube. Go and check him out and listen to, like, the lore videos. You thank me later. But at one point there is a Guardian holding a Phalanx shield, which he pointed out in that video. So I was like, you know what? That's probably going to be akin to, going into like the public events with the swords, from like Dark Below, when we got on the run up to Dark Below. We got them back again in the Cosmodrome in Destiny 2 as well, but the Defender Warsat ones. But yeah, I think it's going to be akin to that, but as part of, so it's going to be a part of the battlegrounds, but it's not actually going to be an actual weapon. But then, since you pointed out on that tweet from Cosmo, or the potential future weapons, like to do with like free peeking and that, maybe it's a full blown weapon in the future, or maybe that's their way of announcing it. I don't know. And then to go back a couple of seconds in this trailer, and to go back to where I was on about the meme. I don't know if this is the same one that you guys have seen, but it's basically where Keitel proposes an alliance. She says bow, and then there's a huge wall of text where it's pointing at Zavala. Yeah. Instead of him saying no, he says, "Excuse me, one fucking Guardian has been kicking your race's collective asses for 9 years. They kill gods for fun and turn them into guns for a meme. They genocide entire races for loot. They assassinated your last leader, cleaned out your daddy's ship, while he, obviously about Callus, he wrote fan fiction about them and promptly fucked off to let you pick up the pieces. The only reason I didn't bring them here is because they casually began wielding the darkness to clap ass in new ways. All I have to do to make them end you is tell them you have a fancy new gun, or that Eris can make you into one. So think about that before you tell us to bow your sorry ass." I thought that was fucking hilarious.
This is we never disappoint when it comes to memes.
No, we really don't.
I usually
that's the same one that I couldn't help but get that in the group chat.
I usually see a long wall of text in a meme like that though, and just go, no, I'm not reading that. Fuck off. I saw this basically Zavala, not saying no and just clapping her with words essentially.
Yeah.
And
Zavala in a wall of text. Oh God, what could it be?
Yeah, basically. So yeah, is there anything else you want to cover real quick, Kit, before we finish up? Anything you want to mention?
Not for the topics. Well, I do want to say, just as we're ending, as of now actually, the first 4 episodes are available on TuneIn and Google Podcasts. Although you can't search for on Google Podcasts, the discoverability is weird on that one. But if you go on TuneIn and search for Rising Lights, you will.
The links are in the description of the YouTube videos as well.
Yep. Okay, wonderful.
So, yeah.
Working on getting on Spotify as well, but they're taking a little bit longer to get everything processed. So, hopefully by next week.
Okay, so one last question for you, Witty, before we let you do a little bit of a spiel about yourself, where we can find you and all that. Is there anyone that you would like to see on this podcast? And by that same vein, anybody that if they were to come on and wanted like someone to be featured with them alongside you, like basically, who would you like to see on the on the podcast, and if you were to come on again, be featured with them potentially?
If there's anybody that I would like to be on with, wow, that's a tough one. There are a few other people in Clan Truth that aren't content creators per se. We do have a couple of individuals that I think would lend a lot of Destiny 2 stuff. They're people who are definitely a lot better than I am. We have a few individuals who do a little bit of content creation here and there. I'm sure that there might be somebody in there that would like to talk about some stuff. As far as other people that are, more known content creators, that's a tough question. I'm sure that there's a few good people. I mean, there's just so many people. It's where do you draw the line on a list? There's so many people in this community that are content creators that I feel like, for having not done this for very long, I still look up to. I got started really with, getting involved with this community with people like Pigeon and Danfinity and Sin, and a lot of guys from Nocturnal and Sin from Nocturnal and guys from Current Meta, and just the list goes on and on. I would think, I don't know how many, if you're trying to get more UK people on or more EU individuals on, or if you're trying to gear more towards try and get more people in our in my neck of the woods.
Basically,
if you've got any ideas for that, or you're just kind of,
it's basically just anyone that you think, if anyone that you think, if we turn around to them and said, "Do you want to be on the Rising Lights podcast in 2 weeks' time? Here's what it's all about. Here's what we're trying to do with it." For anybody who is new here, by the way, Rising Lights, the whole thing is getting people like Witty on, getting people like Rafe on last week, Fiend the week before, Sev before that, sort of talking different point of views on content creation and like Destiny news and stuff, kind of like we have done throughout this podcast so far. So anybody that you think, if I was to turn around to them on Twitter, just randomly out of the blue, and go, "Hey, do you want to be on Rising Lights in 2 weeks? It's at Thursday at this time, at 5 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. UK." You think might turn around and go, "You know what? Actually, yeah, I'll hop in. I can give some insight and bring something to the conversation in regards to
especially
Twitch."
I would throw a nice short, it's funny because he was somebody who I've been paying a lot of attention to recently, more so and who well would be Chaps, because he's just so easy to talk to, and he just has such a he has just such like a big upbeat personality. I think he would be really good. I think Otis would be great to have on as a guest.
Yeah, we've got plans for Otis.
I figured. From his same group, Solidus Lee would be another real good individual. He's a Pacific time person, I believe.
Yeah, he's on the list.
Yeah. I think those are all gonna be really, really solid individuals to have on. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that would be off the top of my head. Nobody else is coming. I mean, there's a million people, but I think we're definitely on the same mindset of who's going to be, who's going to keep the train rolling for Rising Lights.
For anybody that didn't know, the reason that Witty said I know Chaps is because I'm met Chaps through Anubis's chat. I've followed him for ages, just never caught one or two of his streams, but never actually hung out in there properly. And then I've seen him in Grandad Gaming's chat as well, just hanging out, chatting with him, chatting with Grandad as well. And then the other day I was raiding with Grandad and some of the Confluence guys, and we literally just got to Atrax, was about to start, and Chaps decided to drop a raid on me of 32 people and hosted me for 50 on his channel. So it's hello.
What do I do here?
I now partly know how Kit felt the day he got his affiliate, where FPS Crystal raided him with 250 people.
You got a little bit of that feeling.
A little bit, just a little bit. But then, to make it matters worse, literally an hour before that, I'd been raided by Iron Pornstar, PWN, before anybody, takes it out of, is in, Pwn. For 39 people. So my peak viewership for that stream was 48 people. I looked at my stats after the stream. I was like, no way, that's fucking surreal. Average of about 10, maybe 15 on a good day, peak viewership, and then 48 that one day. I'm like, I think it was Monday, and I was like, do I stream on Tuesday, or do I still take my day off? Do you know what I mean? But no, I'm glad I took the day off, because it gave me a chance to get a couple of the graphic things that we put out on Twitter sorted. I sorted out the podcast scenes on OBS for us to be able to do this tonight, and then I also managed to screenshot a couple of the things to Witty, so that he could be a little more prepared. That was something that was actually suggested to us by Sev when he was first coming on. So I don't know if
that did help a lot. Like having just the list of topics, and then even without links, but me just being able to go and type a few things in and be like, okay, like I can look a few of these things up beforehand. Definitely was really nice to have a
So
little
that's
bit more,
something we're
have a little
gonna
bit background on stuff, like especially the stat stuff and the OBS and the Twitch viewership. That was all good.
Yeah, so that's something we're gonna continue to do then. That's what I was basically about to say. Did that actually help Witty? I meant to ask like Rafe last week as well, and Fiend the week before.
Definitely was a positive.
Okie dokie. Anything else, Kit, before we go?
No, that's all from me. I've got my other platforms thing in, so I
Okay.
think we're good.
So Witty, your turn. Talk away. Where can people find you? You got YouTube. I know we obviously know you've got Twitch, Twitter. Anywhere else that they can find you? Go. Have the floor, mate.
Twitch is WittycalfX. Twitter is WittycalfX. I do have a YouTube channel that doesn't have anything on it right now, but I do want to start messing around with some little video editing stuff. That's called the YouTube channel right now is called Witty Gaming. The Discord is called Clan Truth. Can find that through if anybody's on Xbox looking for an Xbox group for Destiny 2 or really any other games, can find that through my Twitch and through my Twitter links. And yeah, those would be the places to go to find where we're located.
Cool.
As usual, Kit is on Enraged Kitsune, on Twitch, Twitter, and
all that, yeah.
you're already on my Twitch channel. But if you're on YouTube, the links for both of these guys' Twitch channels will be in the description, as well as the links to the other platforms that Kit mentioned. And then that's it. We're gonna basically keep that sort of thing going forward. Those links are going to be in the description of every one of the YouTube videos. We're going to keep tweeting out every week when we're going to do these. Next week, I believe we've got CJ planned, right, Kit?
Yes.
Have you've confirmed with him, yeah?
I've confirmed that with him, yeah.
Cool. Do you want to mention the week after?
The week after? Yeah, have we got Cyan for that week?
Yes, that's what I was going to say. So the week after next. So next week, obviously, it'll be the first. It'll be the Thursday. It'll be the first week after the new season. We'll only have had 2 days to play the new season to see what we like and don't like about it. Going to be talking to CJ, a friend of Kit's, a member of the same clan as Fiend, who we had on 2 weeks ago. Who's been playing a lot of other games and not so much Destiny, basically, since Beyond Light, at least from what I've seen anyway.
Yeah, they got all geared up to do like the raid and stuff, and then obviously since then it's just sort of everyone's fell off at various points. So
yeah,
he's been playing other things to buy this time.
But what we will do is also the week. So the week after that, though, we're gonna have a bit of a little. We're gonna have the weekend essentially to work on, the seasonal stuff, whatever we have access to when the new season starts, and we're gonna do a special edition essentially of the podcast on the Tuesday, just because Sai, who we're gonna have on, isn't available at the time that we normally do it on a Thursday because he works like Wednesday to Sunday. So the only time you can really do it is a Monday or a Tuesday. So we basically just said Tuesday because 1, reset, anything new we can cover, and 2, it's the only other day I don't personally stream. So
yeah,
it makes sense to, since the podcast is on my channel, that to be its own standalone thing on that day. But yeah, so we're gonna have essentially 2 episodes within the space of 5 days. So what we are going to do, because there's not going to be no TWAB to cover on that Tuesday, is we're going to probably get CJ's point of view on it on that Thursday, talking to him, and then sort of re-go over certain parts with Sai and see what he
See what he thinks of it. Yeah.
he thinks of it.
Mm.
He is a member of Team Adrift. They have a similar sort of mindset as Truth. They are also allied with a bunch of like PvP clans. Like they are constantly. Lysis is one of their key like members you've probably heard of going around the community. So play a lot with like Noise Tank, and Sai plays with Lysis obviously because he's in the same clan.
All good people, all great people that I've gotten to meet through Twitter and Twitch.
Yeah, so I have let me have a look. Three potential targets for the raid this evening. One of which I would really like to go to because it would be the first time and the only time I've actually, had chance to raid this person.
Okay.
The other two I've had chance to raid them and I just haven't. So, and that one person is Baggy. One of the co-leaders of Favored, which is obviously the clan I'm in. So if there's
I don't know if I get a vote. I would lend a vote to Baggy.
Yeah, you get a vote. You definitely get a
I'm
vote.
just looking at my bar now, and I'd say that's a good idea. Go.
I think he's just starting up too, so that works out.
So
nice long chain.
Yeah, let me get him open on my phone. He's not. I'm there able to listen. The filler's on as well, but they're like another podcast type thing, and it's. It might be an option in the future. I'm not comfortable today, considering the other option is a member of my clan that I'm in now. Actually, the person that got me into the clan because of like me knowing my cousin. So.
Right.
So I'm gonna start the raid real quick. One thing I will say is thank you very much, Witty, for coming on. I said your name
That's
wrong.
our Dragon Ball fusion. Witty and Kitsune become Kitty.
Yes. If anybody doesn't know, by the way, Witty's you saw it earlier when we was his whole like shtick is, well, art style at least is like Dragon Ball abridged, right?
It's all my stuff is all my things are Dragon Ball, DBZ, DBZA, and also the we have a designer who is basically partnered with Clan Truth as well in Hunter's Spree. So anybody who's a member of Clan Truth, who's part of our Discord, gets discounted stuff off of designs from her. So she did all of my artwork, so I can give her a little shout out because she just did all that stuff recently for me.
Yeah. She does a lot of stuff as well, right? For like, isn't she like a mod for Glad as well?
She is, and she runs I believe she does some of the social media stuff for Fudge Pushers also.
Yeah, I've seen that. It seems like Anubis has been taking a big part of that as well, like Fudge Pushers since he joined. But yeah, anybody who's a sub to the channel, hit him with my charge emote. If you're a sub to Kit's channel, then give him the Kit hi, as Kit just give. If you're a sub to Witty's channel, hit him with the usual, which is the Krillin one you use, right, Witty? Yep, so there you go. And if you're not a sub to anyone who's in the podcast today, then don't worry about it. Just use the Twitch generic raid emotes, which I'm about to put into chat right now. Thank you very much again, Witty, for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Very, very interesting conversation. And for everybody who's watching this as a VOD on either on Twitch or YouTube, again, links are in the description to both Kitsune and Witty, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye.